the back of my UAZ has like a sort of vinyl floor on it, not very robust, and it's also got lots of like small brackets where various bits of equipment used to be mounted. My idea is to remove all this and checker plate, aluminium checker plate, the whole floor, and I'll also be adding in like some tie down points so I can put engines and heavy stuff in the back and strap them down. So yeah, let's start taking the old stuff out. So I just lifted it up in the air. This is the first time it's been up in the air since I've had it. I was quite disappointed none of the brakes are binding on. That would have been a free way to get a bit more speed out of it, but no, they're fine. No obvious play either in the front suspension. But do you know I ended the last video with what I said was a colossal oil leak, and then I showed you a piddly puddle? Well, that is just from moving it on. It was sat in between the posts of the ramp anyway, so that's just moving it back and forth a bit to get it lined up perfectly. Less than a minute running. Well, I've just found out what it is. The oil cooler hose is loose. Easy fix. So that's good news. So inside, underneath the vinyl flooring bit, there is this plyboard. I'm going to pull it out and leave it out. There's some rust down here. I knew I could see that before I even started taking it apart. That's not a big deal, I'll just weld that up. But down here, it's visible from underneath. There's quite a bit down the side there. It's fine, I'll weld it up. Right, it's the next morning. What started off as like a couple of hours job to remove the old flooring and start fitting the checker plate flooring I've got has now turned into a bit of a mammoth task with quite a bit of welding needed. I'm not totally surprised. I knew there was bits and pieces that needed doing, but just got to get on and do it. So this is the bit I could see before I started removing anything. Even when I went to look at the van, I could see probably about this bit here. So I knew this was going to be worse than I could initially see. But to be fair, just outside of it, it's just this seam which is gone. And just past it, it's not bad, and it's pretty solid down there. On the other side though, it has gone all the way around, so all the way around this panel you can hear how it's not attached anymore. So all the way down there and here as well, but again relatively solid in the middle. Right, just marked out where I'm going to cut. On this side, I'm just going to go just to the edge of the raised profile bit. See how I get on. So I've just invented this. Welding. Shit mirror looking up at the back side of where it's welding, and I can see from a distance that it's on fire. Lovely. Ah yes, it's on fire. Yes, it's gone out. So it's a good few days later. I've not videoed too much, I've just been cracking on with it. I'm a little bit, I don't know, not anxious. Basically, I know what the internet is like. And I know that people will look at anything which is not a full restoration back to bare metal as a bit of a bodge job. And unfortunately, that is what is happening here. I have just patched up the areas that needed doing. And that's that. It's a chassis car, you know, so safety is not affected. It's mega dangerous as it is, you know, never mind with a few little rust holes in it. But I've patched up what's needed doing, but I've not videoed too much of it. I'll show you what I've done. So the patch on that side, on the back end of the wheel arch, and then all around the side there, and then over the other side. Patched. Now, it is what it is. There were holes and now there are not. Deal with it. Whilst I was chucking the spare back on, I thought I'd drill the stud that holds the carrier on and put a R-clip in it. That is so the nut can't back off and the spare wheel carrier can fall off and the spare wheel fall off. I've always had a slight paranoia about spare wheels that are bolted on underneath vehicles. Ever since somebody told me a story of a spare wheel falling off a van on the motorway and they just didn't stop. Maybe that person's in the comments. Wheels are back on. Underbody sealed, the repair areas. As good as new. As good as I'm willing to do it. Just thought before I drop the ramp down, I'd have a quick look at the prop shaft bolts, right? I've seen multiple videos of these, or pictures. Drop-in props off the back of the box. I don't know if you can tell, them bolts are loose. It's a common problem with them. Bizarre. Must be all that power. I'm going to nip them up. Yeah, bizarre. They were all loose, all four ends of both prop shafts. The front end of the rear prop shaft, which is the pictures I've seen of props just falling off the back of the boxes. Oh yeah, they were like finger tight. They must shake themselves loose or something, or maybe not have a good enough spigot for the back end of the prop to ride on. No idea, but nipped them all up, and the oil cooler line, so hopefully that's all done. I just need to do a bit of cleaning up inside and then mark out and cut the checker plate that I'm going to fit. Oh, and rubber, because I'm rubber lining it and then checker plate. So it turns out the oil leak wasn't the oil cooler line all along, it was the oil pressure switch. The oil cooler on this has got a tap to turn it on and off if it's hot or cold outside. And the tap was in the off position. And I was thinking, that's strange that it's leaking oil out of the cooler when the cooler's turned off. But I'll put the line back in and tighten it up, did that, just started it up then, hammering oil out, have another look, and next to the oil cooler line takeoff is an oil pressure switch. It's not even electrically connected, it's got an oil pressure gauge, so the switch doesn't seem to do anything anymore. But yeah, that was passing a load of fluid out. So in between the black plastic part and the metal part, it's loose, and yeah, oil is passing out of it. So being as it doesn't do anything, I've welded the end up. It's going back in just as a plug. Right, happy with that. First trial fit. Not bad. So the tie down points I'm going for are these. Chassis rails go along. I'm going to drill through the hole, through the checker plate, through the rubber matting we're going to put underneath, through the floor, through the chassis, drop coach bolts through, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to have about 6 of them, I think, equally spaced. So when I do crash it, and I've got an engine in the back, it won't hit me in the back of the head. Right, day 478 on the UAS 2-hour job of replacing the floor. I've done the final bits of cutting out on the checker plate floor. It fits in, I am happy. What I'm now doing is, do you see around the door, I've added some black rubber matting previously to keep the weather out. Well, I've got some of that left. And what I'm going to do is line the whole floor with it in the van. Bit of sound deadening, but I'm not bothered about that. It's more that because I'm putting aluminium on top of the steel floor, I don't want it rattling about too much, making a load more noise. So yeah, I'm going to cut it out and lay it out. Right, that's the rubber matting in. Now to lift the checker plates in, hopefully for the last time, and then I'm going to drill the holes for them, which is actually going to be a right nightmare because I basically want to line it up with the chassis. I'll work it out. But yeah, let's lift these checker plates in. This is the hard one. This is how I did it last time. It's basically got to go out the door first. An absolute pain. This is where it really sucks not having any friends. They've been in and out so many times. So if we look underneath, you can see where the chassis is, and it runs pretty much a straight line all the way down to the front. What I'm going to do is mount these in a straight line. The rear two quite far back. Centre two overlapping the two sheets to tie both of them down. And then the very front, I don't know, they might go all the way to the front, they might be a little bit further back. I don't know, I'll make it up as I go along. But the coach bolts are going to go through the floor, and then there's a gap, probably about that much, where it's just a gap before it gets to the chassis. So what I'm probably going to do is nut it above the chassis, and go through the chassis, then put a nut on it the other side. Because I don't particularly want to bolt it down and sort of drag the floor towards the chassis. That's my plan. As per usual, making it up as I go along. Maybe that's why everything takes me so long. Just made a bloody mistake. It was like this, right? Facing that way. Did that bolt. Oh, brilliant. Actually, I'll admit, there's a hole there, which I drilled through. It was slightly too far over, it would have been on the edge of the chassis. My trusted eyeball it with a piece of wood idea didn't work out, and I got it too far over. Anyway, I thought I'll just move it where it needs to be. Drilled the correct size hole, mounted it. Great. Bolt goes through underneath. If you can just about see it. Terrible lighting. Through the chassis. Super. Now, just put one ahead of it. You might have seen the mistake there. Or the issue I'd have. Another way, crop wire. This bloody thing here is in the way. I didn't realise until I started drilling it. Anyway, let's not get too precious about it. Flip it around, drill a hole there. It's the first one, and these are the easiest at the back. The ones at the front are going to be harder. Alright, I've got 4 of them in place. But an issue I'm having, notice, is that because the floor is not perfectly level, because it's ribbed, etc., and it's got rubber on it, it's lifting up a little bit in the middle. So Eddie, who I rent my barn off, he just suggested, because I was going to put a little screw in there, he said, when you use a coach bolt, and just put the coach bolt through, and that'll hold that bit in place. So that's what I'm going to do. There you are, coach bolt fitted, floor's nice and flat, woohoo. Alright then, I am calling this finished. Took way longer than I wanted it to. But there we have it. Just spent the last half hour or so bolting in the edge trims, which I didn't think I was going to be able to fit again. But good old tech screws. That edge trim is in there. And all around the step. 6 tie down points. Bolted through the chassis. Happy with it. Up the front, I was just going to cut out some checker plate then and fill them gaps. But I want to make a little toolbox which holds like ratchet straps, tow rope, all that sort of stuff. And I was going to put it off to the side, but thinking about it, I may as well put it probably one either side, just little boxes with some bits and pieces in. Happy with that. Right, that's it for this video. That took a lot longer than I wanted it to. I'm going to have fun editing this video. About 8 days of footage down into about 20 minutes. Let's see how well I do. But hope you enjoyed. Little disclaimer, I am not a professional fabricator. I know you probably watched that video and you were thinking, Jesus, this guy, he's good. Jesus, this guy knows nothing. But yeah, if you're after how-to videos and how to do things correctly, you're on the wrong side of YouTube for that. You're on the make and do side of YouTube, not the how-to. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you soon.
That